Hi everyone, it's Allison here, also known as Lasan Faye, and I am here today with another Zen Doodle with me video. And this is for April 16th through the 22nd. And again, this is all for the Zen Art Challenge, and you can find a link to the group for the Zen Art Challenge on Facebook in the description below. But let's go ahead and dive into these new tangles. Okay, the first tangle that I have for you all today is called Josie, and it was created by Jose Miesen. Apologizing now for mispronunciation there. But the way you want to get started with it is to create a staggered square grid. So what I mean by that is you do a couple little small squares. Oops, made that too big. And I'll come back here and do that. And then in the row below, you want to offset that spacing so that the next ones come out in between the ones up above. Once you have your staggered square grid in place, on each of the little squares, on each face of the square, you want to come along and just do a little line out. And from those lines, we're going to do little squiggles that have two humps going away from the diagonal between the upper one and the two sides on either square beside it. So what I mean by that is, so if this were my diagonal line, I come here, I go up, down, up, connect. And then going this way, up, down, up, connect. And if I were to go through to connect this line to this one, the up would actually be this way instead. So up, down, up, connect. And up, down, up, connect. Voila. I could take time to shade this in right now, but I feel like this clip is already a little long. This one's a little tedious, and I've already made multiple mistakes attempting to do this one on screen. I don't really want to screw up the coloring as well while on film, but this one's interesting, and I think it can be really, really pretty. I'm just gonna have to practice at this one a bit more, but yeah, overall I enjoyed it, and I could see how people would zen out to it. But I'm gonna go ahead and end this tangle here. All right, the second tangle that I have for you all today is called TM Tile, and it's by Linda Ray, also known as Texas Doxy Mama. And the way we get started is like this. You kind of want to set up a bit of a cross. You can use a grid. I'm not going to draw this cross in place because I already have the dot grid aiding me. But the way that this works is you start in the upper part and you curly Q around and up, and loop all the way over, and come back and scroll in. Just like that. And you want to repeat that in each of the 4 directions. Like that. And then in the middle, you want to draw a square that's standing on its point rather than its side. And add some lines to fill in this square. And then finally, in each of the original little shapes that we made, draw a little half circle that fills in the top part. And like that, we're all done with TM Tile. I think this is really cute. I could see how you could create a larger tile effect. And yeah, I would love to use this again outside of this challenge. And I hope you do as well. But let's go ahead and move on. The third tangle that I have for you all today is called Twistle. And it was made by Molossus. And this is kind of a border pattern, Celtic knot kind of tangle. And the way you want to get this one started is to, again, do these diagonal squares. And circles in between them and go all the way across. Then above and below on each face of the square, you want to create a line that comes in, hooks around the circle, and goes back up, but it won't quite meet the next one that you do. You want to do that both above as well as below. Then, once you have these, I'm going to call them W's in place, between the 2 ends of the W, you want to create a scalloped edge. So in other words, you come through and just scallop up and over, kind of like you would draw clouds. Then, between the W shapes and the inner points, you want to draw a line that continues the line on the square. And on the other side, you want to connect the this line to your circle. And then finally, this one to your square. And last but not least, to give this a full cohesive knotting look, from this line, we're going to go up and almost like we're tracing the scallop edge. Because this is my end piece, this is where my next ones are going to connect in. And that's why I've done that way. But you want to connect now the top of the square to the end of each scallop, and then the remaining line will come over and follow the scallop across. And again, you also want to do this same thing on the bottom. You could stop here, you could add your own further embellishments. I am going to stop here, but I hope you enjoyed this tangle, and I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next tangle. The fourth tangle that I have for you all today is called Ionic Border by Margaret Bremner. And this one is like the Ionic columns that you'll see in architecture. And so the way this one starts is you create a base for your border. And then from your base on each side, you come up slightly in and then spiral out, just like that, and repeat it on the right hand side. And you can embellish it how you wish. I'm kind of going to make mine look like columns, and so I'm going to do these little lines that come up. I guess really they're triangles. But yeah, just kind of fill them in like that. And you can fill them in and embellish however you wish. Overall, I think this is a nice, quick, easy border that you could do. And I hope you use it in your own work. I hope you're enjoying doing this challenge with me so far. But that's all I have for this tangle. It's nice, quick, easy. And let's move on to the next one. The fifth tangle that I have for you all today is called Venetian, and it's by Elaine Benfato, also known as Urban Spinner. And this one, again, I'm going to take advantage of the dot grid, even though I'm not actually going to draw the grid out. And the way this is going to happen is every 2 by 2 square I'm going to count as 1 square. So the way that you get started with Venetian is you create semicircles that are along one face, like that, and on the opposing face. However, as you move to the next square, you rotate by 90 degrees. So one face, other face, and repeat. And once you've set up all of your little semicircles, between any pair of semicircles that are facing each other, you want to do 2 lines that connect them. Like so. And then from that connection point, you want to draw rays that come out towards the ends on each side. All just like that. And then you can embellish this a little bit by, at the ends, creating a little scallop. So that way it looks more fan-like. On any white space within the scallop, you can just fill that in. Like that, and it gives it full depth and dimension. But that is all for this tangle. I think it's rather pretty. It does make me think of Venetian tiles. And I see how in the future, and what I might recommend for anyone else who's doing this, is making these semicircles a little bit closer to each other, so that way the center, well, for me it's a rectangle, but have it be more square so it looks more authentic to the Venetian tile. But that's it for this tangle. Let's go ahead and move on. The 6th tangle that I have for you all today is called, it's another line weave pattern by Cindy and Jill, and this one is called Crochure. And the way you do this one is you create 2 circles. So 1, 2, and from the bottom of one circle, you come up and cross over to the top of the other, and you want to attempt to do that twice in one direction, and then you also want to do it in the other direction. Like that. And then we can add little dots in the center. And for the sake of embellishment, I am going to draw these little radial lines coming off. And that is all it takes. You can do this as a series of these, so to connect more together. And you can see it in the picture on the right, how you could either have everything all lined up, you could do it as a staggered line, but obviously you could connect a lot more of these together to create a really nice border or a really good fill for whatever part of the tangle that you're working in. But due to my limited space on this challenge, this is where I'm going to leave it and move on to the final tangle. The final tangle that I have for you all today is called Bulging Heart, and this is copyright via Expressive Monkey. And so the way you want to start with this one is to draw a heart. And then I'm actually going to use a ruler for this one because I feel when I do straight lines, it's going to be a little more important. And I'm going to add straight lines here and there. And between all of the horizontal lines, I am going to draw a slightly curved line that curves up. Like that. And I'm going to repeat this with the vertical lines and that is it for Bulging Heart. Bit of a optical illusion there. Yeah, no, it's interesting. This is first time in a really long time that I've done one of these. Yeah, I think it turned out pretty cool. But yeah, that's it for this tangle. And I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up. All right, that's it for the tangles this week. I hope you all enjoyed them. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you would like to see more of these videos, go ahead and subscribe. Anyways, I look forward to seeing you all next week. In the meantime, have a wonderful, wonderful week and take care. Bye.